how do you actually build a nation's identity, from scratch? It's a question that's about so much more than just borders and flags. At its very core, it's about language. I mean, how do you create one single unified voice for a country that has dozens of them? Well, today, we're going to look at how one nation took on that absolutely monumental challenge. And look, this isn't just some theoretical problem, right? It's a real, fundamental challenge for anyone trying to build a nation. It's all about creating a shared identity out of incredible diversity. And for the brand new nation of Pakistan, the solution they came up with was, well, it was as bold as it was controversial. So what was the answer? A single language, Urdu. Now, you got to remember, this is a country with this incredible tapestry of languages. We're talking Punjabi, Sindhi, Pashto, Baluchi, and more. And yet the leadership declared that Urdu was going to be the linguistic glue to hold the whole thing together. A really powerful vision for sure. But the big question is, how do you actually turn a declaration like that into a reality? All right, to really understand why this was so important, we've got to go right back to the very beginning, to the foundation of the state and the words of its founder. Now, this wasn't just some casual policy suggestion. No, this was a deep foundational belief. Back in 1948, the country's founder, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, he made it crystal clear. A single state language wasn't just about paperwork or administration. It was the very thread that would hold the new nation together. And believe me, that one single idea would go on to shape Pakistan's language policy for the next 70 years. So you've got this powerful vision. How do you make it official? How do you turn it into national policy? Well, you write it into the country's most important document, the Constitution. And here it is, Article 251. You can think of this as the constitutional blueprint for the whole plan. First, it made Urdu the official national language. But, it was also pretty pragmatic. It set a 15-year timeline for the transition because they knew this couldn't happen overnight. English could stick around for official business in the meantime. And this is super important. It also allowed provincial assemblies to promote their own local languages. It was a really ambitious balancing. Okay, so having a constitutional mandate is a powerful start, right? But that's just words on paper. You need an organization, a real engine, to actually do the work of taking a language and making it official across an entire country. In that engine was a National Language Promotion Department, or NLPD, which was set up in 1979. And its mission was just monumental. Their job was to take the words of the Constitution and literally weave them into the fabric of the nation. This wasn't just about, encouraging people to speak Urdu. It was about systematically integrating it into every single aspect of public life. So, how'd they do it? Well, the NLPD's approach had a lot of different parts. They had a dictionary section to standardize the language, a translation section to bring in knowledge from all over the world, and a publication section to build up a modern body of literature. But the most forward-thinking piece of this entire puzzle was this last one, Urdu Informatics. This was the division that was going to get the language ready for a future that, back in 1979, nobody could have even imagined. Yeah, that Urdu Informatics division, it was incredibly ahead of its time. Because by the late 20th century, the big challenge wasn't just about books and typewriters anymore. It was about making sure the national language could actually survive and even thrive in the digital age that was just around the corner. This timeline here really shows an incredible evolution. I mean, it started out pretty simply in 1980 with just standardizing the typewriter keyboard. But as the world started going digital, the whole mission had to shift. By 1998, the big focus was on digital encoding. What's that? Well, it's basically creating a universal translator so that any computer, anywhere, could understand and display Urdu characters correctly. And the result, in 2000, was something called UZT 1.01. The best way to think of it is like the digital DNA for the Urdu language, a single standard that would let it live on pretty much any electronic device. And that technical work, all that stuff that was done decades ago, honestly, it's impossible to overstate the impact it's had. It is the reason that Urdu is a living, breathing language online and, right there in our pockets today. I mean, just think about it. Every single time you see someone send a text message, write an email, or search the web in Urdu, what you're really seeing is the result of all that foundational work. That totally seamless experience, it didn't just happen by accident. Nope, it was the direct result of decades of very deliberate planning. And the real-world payoff? It was immense. This digital standard was the key that unlocked everything else. It's what allowed Urdu to get included in Unicode, which is the global standard for all languages. It made massive projects, like the National Computerized ID Card System, even possible. It's what convinced huge companies like Microsoft to localize their software. And it completely paved the way for the entire ecosystem of Urdu apps and government services that we all use today. So this whole journey, from a founder's vision all the way to a digital reality, it's pretty remarkable. But it also brings up a really critical question for today. In a world of AI, algorithms, and voice assistants, the work of forging a national voice, well, it's never really finished, is it? The challenge now isn't just about preserving a language, but making sure it can speak to the future. So what's it going to take for a language to be heard in the century to come?